A gente está aqui direto do Estúdio 54 para conversar com Robert Creighton sobre o Mystery of Edwin Drood. Thank you, Robert, so much for taking the time to talk with us
My
today.
pleasure.
So tell me, what is the Mystery of Edwin Drood?
Well, the musical is based on Dickens' last novel, which he wrote. He died while he was writing, so it never quite got finished. And of course, as is indicated in the title, it's a mystery. So no one really knows what he intended for the ending. And the musical kind of reflects that. It tells the story, and we're introduced to all these wonderful, interesting characters, and then it stops abruptly. And in the musical's case, the audience gets to decide the ending. So they get to decide who the detective was that's been lurking around, who the murderer was, and then to give a happy ending, who the lovers are in the story. So it's very unique and a lot of fun.
How many possible endings are there in the show?
Well, that's the possible combinations. There's actually 324, and I know that because there's a character in the play, a 14-year-old boy, who plays my son in the show actually, and he's done the math. So I happen to know there are 324 possible endings. And believe it or not, and that's different permutations of characters that go together, but it really varies every night, which is so fun for us because the audience, different audiences pick different people, and so we get to see different people do the endings every night.
Well, in live theater, we always say that anything can happen during a performance, and this show, I think, it's a little bit more, as you said, highly influenced by the audience.
Yeah.
What have you seen much difference from one night to another?
Well, it's interesting, certain weekend nights when people have been out and had a bottle of wine with dinner and that kind of thing, there is an interactive nature to the show, and they can really go with that at times. You get people, really vocally responding when the chairman, who is sort of the narrator and the director of the piece from the stage, when he asks them for a response, some nights you get people really responding, and other nights, they've been at work and you can tell they're smiling and laughing and stuff, but they're a little quieter. So
and what had been the weirdest thing that happened? Or the most unusual?
Well, I don't know unusual, but in the lovers duet at the end, it's one of the principal women is paired with one of the principal men. And it's a lot of fun because we barely rehearse that in rehearsal. We each know our part of the song, the male part and the female part of the song, and then the action that takes place on stage is different every time. And we basically, at this point, it's very entertaining to the audience because we're just trying to entertain our fellow castmates. Because every time someone comes up with something different, and it truly is, the audience roars with laughter, and we're on stage having a ball too, so it's fun.
Do you have much time to prepare, like once you're voted and...
Well, with that, and with the lover, no. The audience literally, it's done by applause, so whoever gets the loudest applause that night.
So it's right there and then.
It's right there, you turn around and you do, and we have a different scene for each woman, and it's fun because even in the lineup when they're picking, there are certain things that, as time has gone on, we've learned to do. If you really want to do it that night, you can kind of go for the vote a little bit, so it's fun.
Now, Mystery of Edwin Drood is a very fun show, although like the stories about murder and so on, it could be very heavy, but it's a very fun show. And it seems like your character has a little bit more fun than everyone else.
Yes. So, it's a play within a play. So I play Nick Cricker, who's part of the Music Hall Royale that's presenting The Mystery of Edwin Drood. And my character, which I am for most of the evening, in The Mystery of Edwin Drood, is Durdles. And Durdles is very drunk all the time. So that gives me a lot of liberty to have a lot of fun. Nick Cricker, in my opinion, is only slightly less drunk. So I basically am well lubricated the whole night and having a ball. So
that's great. Sounds like it was a lot of fun to prepare the character and the
yes, did a lot of research.
a lot of research,
yeah.
That's great. Do you have any favorite on the research?
Oh, sure. I'm a red wine researcher.
Red wine.
That's right. No.
Now, you've been working with an unbelievable group of actors from different generations. This is a very big and varied ensemble.
Yes.
How has it for you to be in the middle of that?
Honestly, I feel so fortunate. We'll start right at the top. Chita Rivera is an absolute legend of the theater and an American, treasure. And to be able to be on stage with her, to sometimes be the lover with her. I'll tell you, if I got picked as the lover with her opening night, and that was just a thrill. That was a life moment, a career moment for sure. If I never got picked again, and I get picked fairly frequently, so that's fun, but if I never got picked again, I was satisfied, because I got to
be with Chita
Rivera on opening night, and so she's just wonderful, and she's as wonderful a person as she is a performer, which is great. Jim Norton, who plays the chairman, is Tony winner, veteran. He's an Irish actor, but from London, and just an amazing. They're all great people as well as so phenomenal on stage. So it's really fun. And right down the line, Will Chase plays the leading man. He's just exceedingly talented and hysterical both on stage and off. Andy Carl, Jesse Mueller, Peter Benson's hysterical. They're all Betsy Wolfe. It's just Greg Edelman. I always say, because Greg's got 4 Tony nominations and we share a dressing room, so I always jokingly say, you can't talk to us like that. Between us, we have 4 Tony nominations. Of course, he's got 4 and I've got none, but for now, that's right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
This has been a particularly great last few seasons for you on Broadway.
Yes, been very fortunate.
You were, not only you were the lead in Anything Goes, but you were also understudying Joe Gray, and now you're working side by side with Tito Rivera.
I know. I told my agent I only do shows with legends now. That's it.
I think that's a good criteria.
Joel Gray, Tito Rivera, doesn't get any better than that.
Who is the next one you want to work with?
Let's see. Who's the next? Well, Liza would be fun. How about Liza Minnelli?
Fun. Oh my God, that's a great way to go
Yeah.
after Tita.
Angela Lansbury would be pretty cool. There's a few legends that would be just to be on stage with pretty neat. I've met both of those women actually, and they're both lovely too. So.
Well, Liza is unbelievable.
Yeah. Icon.
Yeah, and so when you look back, when you were learning acting and so on, and you probably saw these people performing or their movies and stuff, how does it make you feel now that you have been actually working with them?
Well, it's interesting. Just this morning, I was feeding my baby at home before I left for the city, and on the morning show, they were celebrating the 40th anniversary of Cabaret. So Liza and Joel Gray and a couple of the other principals were from Cabaret 40 years ago were being interviewed on TV, and I sent Joel a text while I was, and I thought to myself, isn't that wild? I can text Joel Gray. I just told him, hey, you look great on TV, and he wrote me back and said, send me a picture of your son. I need an updated picture. And then I go to myself, this is kind of, I feel very lucky to be where I am, because it was my dream to do Broadway and to be here performing and making a living as an actor, and that's what I'm getting to do now. So I don't take it for granted. I'm very grateful.
And you're originally from Canada, so that's also a big step to get to the right way.
From a very small town in Canada where there, hockey was the big activity, which I was very involved with. I thought that's what I wanted to do. Of course, that was never going to happen. But I was into old movies and the vision of what New York was, whatever that was, and sort of long story for another time.
Yes,
but found my way here. So.
That's great. And okay, so in this show, going back to the Mystery of Edwin Drood, you have to campaign for votes. And you said you get a lot of votes usually, and you get to play the ending a lot. So I'm wondering, what is your strategy? What is your campaign?
Interesting question. I don't know if I'm going to tell you that or not completely, because I don't want to let the cat too much out of the bag. First of all, as the murderer, I've only been picked as the murderer once, because it doesn't really make sense for Durdles to be the murderer. But it was a huge thrill that night. It was a total anomaly. Probably never happened again. But I loved it. And then as the lover, when we line up, it's interesting. Some nights you feel like sort of doing things to engender votes, and that may work. Other nights that totally fails, and you try and downplay it, pretend you don't want to be it, so the audience comes along with you. It's a very interesting chemistry, and it's fickle, too. Sometimes, some nights what works doesn't work another night. So
studying the audience and then playing the game the audience
Yes,
wants.
And see what I did there, I didn't give you any of my tricks. I just gave you the general terms, because I don't want to give
that's the idea.
Yeah,
that's the idea. We want people to come and vote naturally.
Exactly. Well, we want them to come and vote for Durdles.
Yeah, they're going to vote for you anyway, because now they know you.
I'm glad we're clear on that.
So if you were to choose, who do you think the killer would be, and who would be the couple to have the happy ending?
Well, let's see. The killer, there's the obvious killer, and he gets to sing the song, but then we realize that he wasn't really the killer. There's a twist at the end. The person who gets voted the most, it really varies, but often we get Rosa Budd being the killer, and I kind of like that, because that's a good revenge. Or, it's accidental, but her intentions were motive. She had a strong motive for her intentions. She happened to kill the wrong person. But she had strong motives, and I'll buy that. And as for the lovers, I think, Durdles lives a pretty solitary life in the graveyard, digging graves and scribing the crypt doors. So I think it's only appropriate that he gets a little love at the end of the evening. That's my opinion. And frankly, I'd take any of those women.
As a tradition of our website, we always like to ask the actors we're talking to, what would be their karaoke song?
My karaoke song. My go-to karaoke song is "Let It Be" by the Beatles.
That's a great choice.
Sang it, I was in Mexico, and the guy, after I sang it, and I had been doing research again, and I sang "Let It Be"
in Mexico.
in Mexico. Yes, and sang it. And the guy at the end said, "Have you ever? You should sing professionally." And I said, and I told him I was a plumber, and there were a lot of people there. So on the beach the next few days, and my wife, the first time, she blew it. She's like, "No, actually, he does sing." And I said, "Don't." So the next time they come out and say, "Wow, we heard you sing the other night," and I was like, "Yeah."
I just wanted to be a very talented plumber.
I'm a plumber, but that's what I do on the side. So
that's great.
Let it be.
And who would you sing with if you were to choose someone from this amazing cast?
Oh, from this cast?
Yes, from this cast.
Jesse Mueller.
Why was that?
Jazz. I want to sing jazz with Jesse Mueller because it just melts my socks every time she sings music like that. She doesn't sing like that in the show, but in the backstage when she sings like that, woo!
In the clear day, she was
amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time.
My pleasure.
And we're looking forward to seeing the show again.
Good. I hope everybody comes and sees it.
Yeah. Come see the show and vote for the...
Vote for Durdles.
Durdles.